So we are back. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are on this call, and let me just remind you that we will always share these with you if you register. So if you register, we will always share not only the recording, but also the notes that Tristan talks about during this call. So without further ado, we are going to dive right into the future of farming. Are we talking about corn, soybeans, or what here?
I don't know. What's popular in St. Louis? Sports teams? You guys seem to be doing great with sports teams.
That's right.
St. Louis Cardinals are going to get into the playoffs, or?
We are in the playoffs, and actually we have decided this year, because instead of playoff beards, that's kind of old news, we're going to go playoff mustaches. That starts tomorrow.
For how long? Until they get out. Yep. That could be in early November, right?
Exactly. And I like next week I'm speaking in Baton Rouge, and so I'll be standing there with a mustache. I'm going to have to explain to everyone why I have a mustache.
Are you shaving the rest of it off and just leaving the mustache?
Yeah, I'll trim it really, really low.
Are you doing the twirly?
No, I don't have that. I wasn't blessed with that ability.
You're just going to do the weirdo mustache. Got it.
I might just go, 70s style.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking when you said 70s. So let's just get right into it.
All right, let's go, brother.
All right. So the farming idea that we're about to talk about came from me working on a farm since 2004 when I first started in real estate. And I failed a lot in trying different things here and there to see what would work, what wouldn't. And as we've been able to grow in this business with technology, I've added a lot more tech into what I'm doing. So what you're going to see here is what we're doing now, and a couple of things that we're also shooting for, and how we're also going to talk about how the farming world is going to change in the next couple of years. So you can see a lot of the things that I'm going to show you, you may not have seen before from your brokerage or from anywhere else. And that's because I really want to be concise in the way that we're talking about this, because a lot of people come at you and say, well, if you do this, it's going to work. But in reality, most of the people that you're listening to out there telling you to do things have never done it themselves. And that's the massive difference, right? So let's get started. Let me just get going here. All right. So I want to start off with some stats, because what we lack in this business, because most real estate agents are expressive and not a lot of them are analytical, they leave the numbers until the end. But I want you to start with the numbers, because the numbers tell a different story. The numbers really help you decide what areas you want to focus on, or what track or what city or town you really want to dive deep into. You can see here the bottom two, where it says sellers who were 18 to 34 years of age had the shortest tenure in their homes, selling within 4 years. To me, that's talking to me. That's super sexy to me, because now I know, well, why don't I target people that are 18 to 34 that are buying houses that I know are going to move again later, because they're going to have kids, their families are going to grow. And then you go down and said, compared to those over 75 years of age who sold their home typically after 17 years. That's a massive difference. Going and targeting people that are moving every 4 years, or let's say every 5, 6 years, versus somebody that's moving every 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years. And then people wonder, well, my farm area sucks. Farming sucks, right? This whole thing sucks. And then you realize that you're the one that sucks because you don't focus on the right things. So before you dive into a farm, it's really important to look at the stats, right? Find out who lives in the area, what the demographics are in those areas.
Where do you suggest, if somebody's sitting there right now thinking to themselves, where do I find that data? Because I noticed one of the pieces of data was manufactured in mobile homes, which I thought was fascinating. Not that anybody would target that, but where do they find that data if they don't know?
Usually you reach out to a title executive and they'll give you that information. They'll tell you who lives where. So if you're going to go into an area, which I'll go into it, you can see who's going to live where. Plus, when you start door knocking, you see who opens up the door the most. And if nobody's home, I'll get into it so I can show it to you. But the number one mistake agents make, can I get some responses here? Jeff, what do you think the number one mistake agents make?
When in specific to farming?
Mm-hmm.
Or just in general?
Farming.
My opinion would be that they don't stay with it consistently. They'll do it for 1 or 2, 3 mailers, for example, or if they're mailing, and they won't see an ROI and they quit.
That's the second one. Guess what the first one is?
Wes, do you have a guess?
They don't do it at all.
They don't do it at all.
That's true. You know what? You win, man. I didn't think about it. Well, I mean, you're here trying to figure it out. So that's important. I had somebody say, hold on. Somebody's saying,
Patrick said, don't do it. So
yeah.
Same.
Right. All right. You guys are in cahoots here. Let me show you. They're trying to be everywhere.
Yes. Okay. In other words, they go macro instead of micro.
Yeah. So that's the number one mistake I made actually as well when I started, because I was really ambitious. I was in my early 20s and I'm like, well, shit, I'm in real estate and I'm young. Just put my shoes on and I'm going to go farm everywhere. Right. I want to mail everywhere. I'm going to take over this whole city, this whole county. And obviously I got wore out pretty quick. And I realized that I needed to focus in. I needed to really focus in and start small. So number one step here, and there are 7. So if you want to take notes, go ahead. Number 1 is choose your area. I want you to choose your area and I want you to start small. I recommend starting at about 500 homes, because when we're picking the area, we're also asking you to actually step into the area so people can see you routinely. And that's one thing that some people don't do. They just mail out or they just target on social media and they don't reach out and connect with the people individually. And that was one thing that I did do starting off. The only challenge that I had is that I was trying to cover thousands of homes every month. And although the first month I did cover thousands, I realized that it was not sustainable long-term. So as I started growing into different markets and different farm areas, I said, well, you know what, let's start with 500 and then we can grow from there. Then we can grow to 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 to 2,500 and 3,000. And then we can alternate and see how often we go. So number 2 there, part of the choose your area, study your map. One thing that you'll find really quickly when you're in the area and you're talking to people who live there, they'll quickly know that you don't know the area if you don't know the area. And you start talking to the little old lady that just opened the door, and she'll tell you all about the neighbors, and she'll tell you all about the 7 houses next door to her, how she's been here since the 50s. And then you start learning the area really well. But if you already sound like you don't know it, people will know. So do me a favor, print out a map of the area that you want, or reach out to your title company, title executives that can give you a map and outline it. What I did is I had one next to my wall of the area that I would door knock. I knew the streets. I knew how many houses were on each street that I was going to. And then if I had talked to people, I'd highlight the little house that I thought, you know what, they're going to sell a year from now or 2 years. It was all a big, massive map that I had. And so I knew when somebody would, Jeff, if you would come up to me and I'd be like, oh, you're talking about this house down the street? Oh yeah, you know what? Nick lives over here and he was talking about doing this and this, and then Jennifer over here, and then people are like, who is this guy? He knows everything here. So what happens is you start making an impression as you start studying the map. Know your demographics. Who lives there is really important. One of the biggest mistakes I made at the beginning is, so I live close to Westlake Village. It's really close to Malibu, and there was an area called First Neighborhood in Westlake Village, and I started door knocking it in the mornings, and I was getting a lot of people that weren't picking up, and I realized slowly after like 6 months of not getting business that it was older people that were living there, and I quickly shifted out of it into more what I thought would be a more luxury area. And then when I switched over to the luxury area, I noticed that the people weren't home either. I was getting a lot of maids, a lot of people that worked in the house, but they weren't the owners. So then I started trying to figure out the time that most people were going to be there. And for those areas, I found that it was around 3:30 to 6. That's when I found door knocking would give me the most amount of people home if you're going to door knock. And we figured 13 people that I would have conversations with an hour. So if you do 13 an hour, then you can multiply how many people you're going to talk to in a day, depending on how many hours, and then a year. But that's the number that I came up with over years of door knocking. So we averaged it at 13 an hour. Now, does it fit your lifestyle? Nobody talks about this. And that's, is it realistic for you to be going to this area often? Is it in your way to work? Is it on your way to work? Is it close to you? Is it in your neighborhood? There were a few times that the places that I chose were just way outside of the area that I was ever going to go to, and I was never consistent enough to do it. And I realized that it wasn't really motivating me to go there. That's when I switched to Malibu, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm motivated to go to the beach every day, aren't you, Jeff?
Yeah, please.
So I'm like, I want to see $10 million, $20 million homes quite often. And I realized that was very motivational to me. So I picked an area years back in Malibu that had about 700 homes. And I went in, and I know that's how I started getting to know the area. I mapped it out, and it fit my lifestyle because I go to the beach often. This was on my way, and I know I'd stop. And then I got to know everybody there. So make sure that it does fit your lifestyle as well. Any questions on this before I go on number 2?
Doesn't look like it. And if I can take a summary of it, it's really preparation. I think preparation is critical here.
Mm-hmm. Something we don't do enough of. And in some cases, we do too much preparation, Jeff, where we don't actually take action.
I would argue that that's 1% of the real estate world that does too much, that over prepares.
Over prepares. All right, good. Next part of preparation is study your farm. Know how many properties have sold there. Know what's expired. Know what's canceled. Know what's withdrawn. And it's really important to have these numbers. So when you're talking to people or you get calls, you have these stats. You know, well, this is how many. Like I can tell you, 28 homes sold last month in all of Malibu. Malibu's not massive, right? But 28 homes sold there. And in the track, in the farm area that I have, only 2 sold there. And to me, that's enough because the 2 that sold averaged 15 million. So I don't have to sell a lot in Malibu to make money. But if there are only 2 that sold and your average price point's 150,000, maybe that's not the area that you want to be in, right? So take a look at what sold, what expired. Are the homes that are being listed there, are they getting listed for too much? Is that why they're expiring? Why are they canceling? And how many withdrawals are there? This is really important information so you get to know the area well, and you have that. Any questions on this, Jeff?
I don't. Wes, do you have any questions? No. We have a live participant, by the way, today.
Oh, nice. I love it. What's his name?
Wes.
What's up, Wes?
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Nice to see you.
Nice to have you on live.
Oh, and by the way, that's a good segue to anybody who is local to us, or you're in your own market with teams. I know Whitney, she helps run the team in Atlanta. We encourage group participation, and anybody's always welcome to come here to our office, and it increases engagement possibilities.
Cool, dude. I saw a couple people jump on as well. Amanda, Julie.
Yeah, Amanda's down in Atlanta.
Cool. All right, so number 3 here. Oh, hold on. I got a comment here. Let's see here. Now you tell us. Oh, yeah, Patrick, too late, man. All right, number 3, study your competition. So if you've been in other businesses, the SWOT is something that's familiar to you. They do this in other businesses, other verticals, really companies do this. And that's a SWOT, what they call a SWOT analysis. Let me drink some water though, so for a break here. And the SWOT analysis is done so you know what you're getting into before you're getting into it. And this is something, again, that's not done in real estate often enough. What you're looking for is in the area that you're going to break into or that you want to break into, you're looking for strengths. What's selling there? Who are the agents that are representing the clients there? What's happening in the area that stands out? Community events, right? What type of people live there? Again, go back to what's expired, what's sold, what's canceled, what are the average commissions, what's the average price point, right? Then you're looking at, well, these are the strengths of the place here. I see it, I like it, I love it. Then you look for, or are there any weaknesses from any of the agents there that are on the market? So let's say Jeff is there and he's doing great, right? His strength is that he's the listing agent in this area. And he takes about 10 listings a month from here, which is a lot. And there's a total of about 22 listings that come out every month. So he has almost half of the market. That's insane. So I'm looking, all right, I see his strengths. It looks like he's very community driven, but what are the weaknesses? And I go online and I check, and Jeff doesn't have a strong presence online. He doesn't do Facebook lead ads. He doesn't have a strong Instagram account. He doesn't have a strong YouTube page, right? So although he's really strong with the community face-to-face, he's lacking online activity. So then you go, well, you know what? That's an opportunity for me. I'm looking at opportunities and I want to examine, well, is that something that I'd like to do? Then I know that this guy owns it in person with these people and I see his weakness, but is it an opportunity? Or that I go into threats, or is it something that if I go into it, he's got a really strong foothold and I'm not going to be able to succeed no matter what I do, or it's going to take a longer time for me to succeed there because he has such a big chunk of the market. So you have to look at who owns that area, if anybody. This is how I know my competition in Malibu, in all of Malibu, is this guy named Chris Cortazzo. He switched from Coldwell Banker over to Compass, and he owns 33% of the market. So that's pretty massive for Malibu with the amount of money you can make there. And he's really good at the relationships. He's helped out a lot of celebrities, like a lot of them, and he's really close friends with a lot of them. But the weakness, he's not online. He's got a website. That's it. Doesn't have YouTube, doesn't do a lot of Facebook lead ads, doesn't do Google AdWords, doesn't do any of that. And so that's how I was able to determine how I was going to attack it. What are the opportunities? It was a big enough opportunity for me to go into it. And the threats, well, you know, people still bring up, no, I'm going to go with Chris. I'm like, okay, no problem. But at least I know my threats going in. Any questions on this?
Wes had a question.
What's up, Wes?
You were talking about events and age groups and, you know, how often they move. And so it made me think, just this past Friday night, I helped a realtor do a movie night in a neighborhood. And it was a children's movie night. And, you know, we were talking that night and thinking about, is this really the best use of time? Because these people with children don't seem to move in the short run. And we were talking about maybe garage sales might be where you want to focus, because people, usually when they're doing a big garage sale, they're probably cleaning out their house to move. So it just made us think about what events compared to your age demographics should people focus on as they do these kinds of events?
What events based on age demographics? Is that the question? Yeah.
Yeah, and is the movie night and stuff that focus on children good, or should we focus on more adult events?
I like to mix it up. So what we do is we mix it up. During Halloween, we have a Halloween event that's massive for the whole community. We had 600 people in our last event for Halloween. And then we did more of an adult theme where we had 120 people, where we took people around the lake and really brought people together that way. And we had like 2 kids, and everybody else was an adult or a couple or a adult family. And that was specifically for them. We had champagne, we had tacos, and we took everybody on a boat ride. They took turns. So I think if it's a mixed community, you want to be able to offer a mix, right? Because you want to try to touch on everybody. But if it's one-sided, like if it's a community that's heavy with families or smaller kids, dude, go all in on activities that can help them, like that can help them come out and participate, like Halloween events where you have costume competitions or Easter egg hunts for Easter, right? Movie nights are okay. I mean, I think they're a little overplayed now. But you could also have, for summer, you can have an ice cream truck just stand, get school permission, but have it stand right outside of school, participate with the PTSA in our area, and say, hey man, hey guys, is it okay we have a video game truck outside and an ice cream truck outside, so that all the kids can come in, and then we'll take a donation. Any donation that we get, we give it directly back to the school to raise money for the school, right? And then you sponsor this, and now there's no question who you're targeting. You're targeting parents, right? And if you have small kids and you're growing, chances are they're going to want to sell and move, right? But the idea is to make an impact in the community in a positive way so people can remember you. It goes back to the subtleties that Jeff was talking at the very beginning about. Does that give you a clear picture?
That's good stuff. Yes. So you're talking about embrace that. Don't try to.
Yeah, definitely embrace that. I always refer back to this book. I feel like I refer back to it once a day, but maybe you'll read this one day, Jeff. It's called This is Marketing, since I bring it up every day. It's by Seth Godin. And
when you send me a copy, I'll read it.
You know what? I'm going to send you my copy, okay? I have a signed copy by him. I'll send you that one.
I'll send it back.
What he says is, don't worry about pleasing everybody. Make sure that you're pleasing your tribe. Who is your tribe? And that's when you're trying to find out. When you're doing your SWOT analysis, when you're doing the demographics, you're trying to find who am I going to target here? Do I care that Joe hates me and doesn't have any kids and is never going to sell their home? I don't give a shit. He's not my target audience. My target audience are all the families with kids. That's who I'm going after, right? Or my target audience are the people who are just about to get ready to retire or have retired. That's my audience. That's who I want to resonate with, and screw everybody else. That's got to be your mindset, because you have to go for the niche. Because again, we're going to go back to the very beginning of this, and that's the biggest mistake that agents make, is they try to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? This applies to this too. Don't try to target every single type of demographic. It's just not going to work.
Well, as a realtor too, I think, just to throw my 2 cents in on this, I think children events are one of the best for a couple of reasons. One, if you have a family, sometimes it's more difficult to get babysitters, so the odds of me actually coming to a non-kid event are slim. 2, every parent with small children wants to get pictures with Santa, wants to get pictures with the Easter Bunny, wants to take their kids to trunk or treat. So they're looking for an excuse to go do that stuff, to tire their kids out but also achieve something that they want to achieve. So that's why I think those events are home runs to me.
Jeff is right. And here I'm going to go I'm going to go further on that. And that's when you're doing these events, you're telling a story, and going with subtleties here. You're telling a story without telling the story. And that what's happening is these events are telling people, well, look, I'm for people that believe in this or that have a family. You're telling them without telling them, right? Because you're consistently doing it. And then you're also telling them, well, look, I focus on people like this. And it's important because along the way, these events and what you're doing, your marketing is going to revolve around who you're servicing. And that's the story that you're telling. And that goes a long way with your branding. Let me go to the next one here. Number 4, create valuable content. Jeff is really good at this. Jeff, you've been doing a great job on video content. It's cool to see how freaking amazing you've gotten. So it's beautiful. But here you have to think for the community. You want to serve an area. Well, first thing is you need a website that talks about the area, or that at least gives you information about the area through properties that you can search in the area, or information about the community through a blog. It takes time. It takes time to create a newsletter. It takes time to create video content. And it takes time to take the time to create the postcards and flyers and emails. I mean, Jeff, how long has it been to get this guy on my team to get you the freaking database for my farm, for the farm he wants?
No comment.
I'm like, come on, it's just a freaking farm. It takes work to do this. But here's the outline. You're creating valuable content to bring in the community. And with what we've got right now with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok in some ways, YouTube, these are all free. These are all things that you can use to lead the people in the community to your content that you're creating, so that you then can tell that story that you're trying to tell, so people can buy into it. They're only connecting with you because they like you. They like what you stand for. So look at this and think, well, what do I need to do to really get to that next level? But why is all this important? And it's a question that you need to ask yourself. I'm doing all this, I'm creating this content, I'm creating videos and websites and newsletters. I'm doing all this, but why is it important? And if you look at the stat that came out from NAR just a few months back, the new stats come out at the end of this month, which is nice to see. I want to see all the numbers. Every October, NAR has like a 140-page document that gives you all the stats that you need to market, and it comes out this month.
How does one get that?
You go to NAR and on their website, and you pay. I think it costs us $20 as members because they still charge us for it. So as soon as I get it, I'll send it over to you, Jeff. I always pay for it. So I think it comes out on the 18th, around there. So I'll be looking for it, and then we create a lot of our marketing based on their numbers and the stats that they have. Here you can see the reason we're doing all of this is because it's about our reputation. It's the story we're telling. It's how we connect with people. And for sellers, for 31% of the sellers, the most important factor is the reputation of the agent. And that reputation revolves all around the perception that you create about yourself, right? If it's somebody that cares for the community and you're doing videos about the community, your posts are all about the community, you're serving the community by having events that help the school, then that's the reputation you're creating. If you're the agent that's just posting about the new listing that you got, the open house that you're at, the new sale that you got, and it's just about you, that's the reputation you're creating too. And so it's important to understand what is the content that you're creating that's going to connect with the people and give you the highest reputation in the eyes of the seller. So I like to say, become a niche celebrity. That's really the key. It's not about becoming a digital mayor like Jeff says, or like Gary Vaynerchuk says. I'm going to take it up a level and say it's really a niche celebrity. Because if you think about it, you can be a digital mayor, but a mayor only has how many years can they be a mayor, Jeff?
It's a digital mayor, damn it.
But if you're a niche celebrity, your star may not shine as brightly as it did before, but you never stop being a celebrity. And the key is being in a niche area where you can focus and make such a huge impact on a small neighborhood, where if these people see you at the supermarket, they're going to be like, Jeff, that was a great video, man. That was awesome. Hey, Jeff, that was so nice of you to do that with the ice cream truck and the video game truck at our school. Hey, Jeff, that event that you had where you had the Easter bunny there, that was so awesome. Thank you. Hey, Jeff, I saw you were you took a vacation at the lake. That was so cool. How's your wife doing? And then all of a sudden you start becoming the celebrity that people know in the area. And that's what you want to do, because they're going to associate everything that you're doing with you being a good person, or you being someone of great reputation that then they can rely on when they need to transact. That's what it comes down to. And you see these circles, they all come together at the end, because whatever you're doing online on your blog or your community page or whatever local information you're giving also meshes into the social media things that you're doing, and also meshes into anything that you're doing in person, whether you're door knocking, having events, open houses, or dropping off note cards or sending notes to these people that you've met. Right? It all comes together. And here's a good slide where you can see how making videos that matter is really important. I know Jeff has talked about this a few times, but here's really like an overview of what type of videos you can create. So it gives you some ideas. You could take a snapshot of this or take a picture. I won't read it all, but I'll go in next. Hey, Jeff, I have a question on this for you.
Hear this?
Yeah, I have a question for you about this.
Go on.
Do you want to do our next call? Do you want to go in on video?
We can. I think we've already announced it though, so we could push that to November.
Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, no, but I'll get it for you while you're talking.
All right. Well, the next one after the one we're doing, let's do video.
You know, I'm always down to talk about that.
I think that'll be good, because it goes in with this so that people can create better content. Here's what we do as well. This gets a little bit deeper into what we're doing and how other companies are functioning too. This is done through Facebook, but what's happening is Google's jumping on this too. And this is where the future comes in. This is what we're capable of doing on social media through Facebook and some in Instagram as well. When we post up a listing or an open house or new homes, whatever we want to post up on social media, we can post those ads. And as the ads circulate through the specific community that I have, people ask me, well, how do you target just the farm area, right? It's easy. We use a company called Cole Realty Resource, and Cole Realty is really like a big giant database of people's information. So I draw a polygonal shape in the farm area that I want, or any area, and then it pulls up all the addresses. It pulls up who lives there. It pulls up their cell phone numbers if they have them, and it pulls up their home numbers and their email addresses if they have them. Now, about half of them pull up with cell phone numbers. So what I do is with those cell phone numbers, and I upload them into the custom audience into Facebook, and then I target and retarget them so that my farm area is seeing my ads. Now I can do this also on Google through their IP address, and we use a company called Prospect Now. They're actually not as expensive as Cole Realty. Prospect Now, I like to call it digital door knocking. We target all the IP addresses for the farms, and it's like me door knocking, but digitally. I show up on ESPN. I show up on websites that they visit, and it's my ad on the right-hand side or at the bottom or in the site. And again, that's part of the branding, right? It's part of the bigger picture, which is door knocking, events, mailers. It's really part of doing that content. So no one thing is going to get you all the business that you dream of. It's a combination. You can see here, once people click on these, it retargets them, and then I follow them around. And it's like when you go on Amazon, Jeff. I always like to say it's like when you go on Amazon, you pick a pair of shoes and they follow you everywhere, right? On every freaking website. That's what we do. Any questions on this?
Do you have any suggestions for a realtor who says, okay, yeah, I understand how it all works, but I don't know how to do all the retargeting? Is that something that you recommend that they hire out? Something that you recommend they learn to do themselves? What do you recommend?
I always recommend that you leverage the tech that's out there, only so that you focus on what you're great at. And most of us are really great at building relationships, right? So do your best to outsource this to companies like Ylopo, right? Ylopo does most of this. There are companies, if you want to learn to do this yourself and go deep into it, you can always go to Travis Tom. And have we talked to Travis before on this? No, we haven't, right? You can go to Elevated REM, and that's his website. It's a group coaching platform where he teaches you how to do almost all of this. There are things that he doesn't teach you how to do. The dynamic retargeting is really tough for some companies to do fully. You need an engineering team. So that's why we use Ylopo for the dynamic ads. But yeah, you can learn to do this yourself. You can Google it and go to a YouTube video that'll go through this for 50 minutes and teach you the basics, and sometimes go into a little bit deeper. And then if you want to do this, they're called Facebook lead ads, LEADS, ADS, lead ads, right? And then Google's about to release Google Ads, Google Lead Ads as well. So we're going to see Google function the same way now as Facebook, because Facebook's idea on targeting people, getting their information, and sending it to us was actually very, very successful. So Google's taking a page out of Facebook, which is going to be amazing to see, Jeff. Can you imagine Google Lead Ads? I'm freaking excited on that, man. That will elevate the game even more on the quality of leads that we get from Google, because Google's the #1 most visited website in the world.
Yep.
But it's a search engine.
Yep. Which is kind of on subject and off subject a little bit. And I did a class yesterday. We did a video editing class, and we were talking to the room, and we started talking about YouTube videos. And I pointed out to the room that don't ever post your YouTube videos to Facebook, because don't forget, Facebook's essentially in competition with YouTube. So what do you think Facebook is going to do to your videos when they're YouTube links?
Yeah.
They're going to suppress them. You're not going to get as much engagement. So don't be lazy. Just post them both places. You should. They should go to YouTube, because YouTube's feeding Google, or Google's feeding YouTube, whichever way it is. But be smart about that. Don't post your videos via YouTube links, because it's not going to get you the most engagement.
Agreed. All right. Stephanie, are you getting permission from HOA to do these events and subdivisions? If there's an HOA, yes, we do get permission. The areas that I've had events in, that we didn't need permission because there were no HOAs. Patrick, Remind is Remind is really good as well. And so Patrick says Remind is great for farming as well, comes with the MLS. So yeah, if you're part of this MLS in St. Louis, check out Remind. It's pretty good for farming as well. Good job, Patrick. Good. Thanks for bringing that up. Here is how it works. I wanted to show you on the left here. You're scrolling through Facebook. You see our ads, and then you click on it. It remembers you. So you click on the website, and then it takes you to a website that we have. This is our Ylopo site. You can then start looking for property here, and it starts looking like it's part of Facebook. Here on the right-hand side, switch over. You can scroll down, look for information. You can even see the little icon on the bottom right that has message me, or you can favorite it. If you favorite it or do any actions on this, it lets us know. And if you share it, you can share it with whoever it is you want to share it to. I want to share this property with Jeff and say, hey, Jeff, when are you moving to Los Angeles, buddy? Check this home out. And it lets us know. So this is really important so that it maintains the same dimensions as it does on Facebook. A lot of the times you see some of these mobile apps that don't function, like Facebook, and it throws people off like, well, why am I going to continue searching on this site if it doesn't look like I'm still on Facebook? Number 5, engagement. I like to say, like, if you're going to go farming, then go in all the way and door knock. It's a method that still works. People don't know what it is that you're going to, people are like, well, what do I do if I'm door knocking? What do I take with me? Or what do I say? Right? It's fairly simple. You usually take one sheet of paper that has properties that have sold in the area or what's available, and check with your MLS to see what information you can or can't have. In my MLS, I can't, in my area, I'm not allowed to put in the address of the properties that are for sale right now. So I can't put those addresses. I can just put like, look, Jay, take a look at this property. It's for sale. So what we usually do is we have all the properties that have sold in the area, and I'm giving them information as I'm knocking the door. When I'm knocking, I'm saying, hey, Jeff, it's Tristan with Keller Williams Realty. I'm a neighbor. If I'm a neighbor, I usually target the areas I live in. I'm a neighbor, and I'm just passing by the neighborhood and giving everybody this information here of all the properties have sold. How are you? And then I stick out my hand, try to hand it out, and most people pick it up. As they're picking it up, and say, so how long have you been in this neighborhood, Jeff? And then Jeff says, I'm not interested, right? And so I said, all right, Jeff, no problem. I'll probably see you around here anyway. I live about 6 blocks from here, so here's some documents. If you have any questions, just let me know. And then I go to people that want to connect with me. If I connect with Jeff, and let's say there's a second Jeff 4 doors over, and Jeff starts talking to me and I'm good with him, I'm like, oh, this guy's really nice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make note of it, and I'm going to send him a card the next day and thank him and say, hey, Jeff, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. It's great getting to know you. Maybe I'll see you around in the neighborhood, or I'll invite you to one of our community events, right? Next, mail out to 500. I'll show you what we mail out. It's coming up. Online community, blog, social. Some agents have created these online communities for their specific towns or specific tracks. I live in an area called, the track is called Dos Vientos. It has 2,700 homes. Out of those homes, 2,200 are houses. The other ones are townhomes, and there are some apartments there as well. And so there's a community already on Facebook, and it's called the Dos Vientos community, and it's got like 3,000 people in it, and it's pretty alive and vibrant. So they do a great job maintaining that, and it's a great way for people to connect with each other. So think of that as a possibility as well. And blogging, if you want to blog about things that are happening in your community, to be a source where people can go to and rely on, you can do that as well. Get a group of people together to do that. Write notes to people that you meet. I think this is something that's not done anymore. That's really important. I'll give you an example. There was, we were door knocking in Hollywood Hills, all right? Average price points like $6 million in the area that we were door knocking in. And we're going up and down these massive hills, because Hollywood Hills is like up on a hill. You see where the Hollywood sign is on those movies? That's pretty close to where Hollywood Hills is. So it's not an easy walk up and down. And so we're door knocking, and we end up meeting this little old lady, and we start talking to her. She's really sweet. And then halfway through the conversation, she tells us she's Dane Cook's grandma. Dane Cook, the old comedian. If you don't know him, Google him. And who knows why his grandma lives with him, but she was there. And so we connect really well, and we got her name, and then we sent her a letter after, just a handwritten note. And then once we did that, she called us back, and we didn't pick up, but she left a message, and she was thankful for the note of all things, right? And she's still in our contact. We did this about a year ago, and she's still part of the contacts that we continually send through. So people connect deeper through notes by taking the time to actually read them and then talk to you, send a note back, call you. It's a different format. And then press release for community events. Some of you may or may not have thought about this, and that's PR. PR is really important. but it's also super expensive. So, Jeff, you know what I would do, bud? I just thought of this. You guys have a pretty awesome thing what you guys are doing on for USA Mortgage. Have you guys ever thought of hiring a PR company? Like
The company does.
a full, but you personally, like for your division?
I haven't, no.
That would be something you remember that lady we met at closing table?
Yeah. We interviewed her. I've interviewed her in lab coats. Yeah.
Dude, that's something that you should look into.
Yeah. You're talking about Christina Haas.
That's her. So we were going to hire Christina for us, but we ended up hiring a local marketing firm called Marketing Mavens out of Camarillo, which is like the next city over. They're not cheap. So obviously if you're in the business for a while, this is something that you do want to take a look into because it will elevate your business dramatically. All right, number 6, automate and leverage. You're going to see some of the postcards that we send out. We love sending out postcards, newsletters. It's all email. Drips to neighbors. I left the word misspelled persmission on purpose. It's an ongoing joke that Nick and I have. So just bear with me on that misspelling that we did on purpose. And we use Agent Legend to drip on people that we've have permission to drip on. So Jeff, if I talk to you and I see you in person, I'm door knocking and you connect with me, I'm like, hey, Jeff, is it okay if I put you on my newsletter and then just stay in touch with you? And then you give me permission there? Great, you're going to go on our automatic drips. I don't just send out these drips to people that we don't have permission to send out for. And then card sending, like I said before, you can definitely do notes or send out cards through Send Out Cards or a company called EvaBot for gifting. Here are two sites.
By the way, Tristan, I'm going to mention that company that was in Detroit.
Yeah, they are called AM Cards. AM Cards.
AM Cards, yeah.
AM
really
Cards.
Cool.
Take a look at them. They're really good. I like the AM Cards, and they're going to be at our other events too when we do it.
Good.
So they're good. These two companies are really good. One's called Breakthrough Broker. Breakthrough Broker is free. You can download templates for newsletters, templates for postcards. You could really download everything for free that they have. It's a really cool site to take a look at. Home Actions is what we use for newsletters. They've created the template for you and they create the content for you. It's super easy. It's just like plug and play. That one I think is $50 a month, but they do everything for you. So you don't have to go on to MailChimp and figure shit out for yourself. This is easy. We use Agent Legend. If you've been on our other webinars, Agent Legend allows for us to drip people. I won't go into it. Here's what we created, we refined. And Jeff, I sent you the new one too for Malibu. We refined our farming outline and I'll show you exactly the pieces. These are the pieces that we use and we're using Jeff's company, USA Mortgage, to build them out. I didn't put any of the templates of what you've built out, but what they're helping us to do is all of our ideas here. You see how we're farming these 6 local market stats, 4 things to do in spring, summer, fall, and winter, obviously 1 for each. 2 pieces that go out a year who are saying who you are and what you've done. 2 pieces a year that go out, let's say top places to eat locally, then top places for dessert, things I enjoy about the neighborhood, best local parks. A top 5 books to read this year. That's the one I always get the most feedback on from the clients we send it to, so our farming clients. And what we're trying to do is change it up a little bit here because what we've noticed is that everybody's sending out the same things. You look in your mail and just today, let me see if I can reach it. I can't. I just get a postcard that's just listed or just sold. And we're trying to change that mold so people can do things that are a little different. Here's a little bit more detail. And then we went into even more detail so that Jeff's team could help us out on building these out. Jeff, if anybody has a question on what we've built out, you can send them my 2 that you built out for September.
And to elaborate, I mean, anybody on this call, obviously you know us, you know USA Mortgage already. There's no bones about that. And so we have a marketing department that's very robust. And so in this case, Tristan or you, the agent, sends us this template and then we take it from there. So we design, we print, we cut, we stamp, we mail, and it's all at a drastically Subsidized cost.
I'm saying they could use this template, just make it their own, right? Give them, they have to give you their local market stats. They have to give you the things to do in the fall and winter and all that crap.
You have to give us the data, but then we'll do the rest. Correct.
You got it. All right. Now I'm almost wrapping up here because I know we've got 5 minutes. Here, when choosing an agent, here are the most important factors. This is according to NAR. Okay, we went over reputation. I highlighted it so you could see the rest of the stats. And if you look to the bottom, to your bottom left, where it says tech knowledge, it's 4%. It's not as important as you think. And look, commission, it's 4%. And Patrick, this is for you. Brokerage, 4%. You see, the things that we think as agents are important are really not important. And designations, they're even less important.
Yeah.
Which is like, wow, that's it really puts things in perspective to me. So the things that you're doing on a daily basis, the examples that you're setting through, the content that you're creating, or the content that you're not creating, is your reputation, right? If you take anything from this, you can see reputation and honesty make over 50%, actually at 50%, right on 50% of what you should be focusing on. So, and they go hand in hand. When you think of reputation, you usually think of good reputation, right? And you usually think of, well, somebody that's honest, somebody that has ethics, that has good morals, right? Good values. And so they go hand in hand. And it's important to take a look at that too. Number 7.
Well, hey, go back to that real quick too. And one thing I want to point out is you notice 3119, that's 50%. Then you add the other 15 for friend and 13 for knowledge. All 4 of those, that right there, that adds up to almost 80%. And we're talking about, you can do all of that through your social media presence. People do business with people that they like and trust, and you can deliver all of that by just being more consistent and delivering more consistent content on social media, even if it's just your personal content. We didn't pre-plan this, by the way. I didn't realize that. 80%. Wow.
Make it genuine too. I mean, that's the thing, right? If you don't know what
be authentic.
Yeah. If you don't know what to do, watch. You know what? How much time do we have? 3 minutes. Darn it. Go on to Lab Coats and watch the video I did yesterday on the social media calendar. I go over it. I kind of go over it a little bit, but take a look at it. You can see.
Hey, share it to the content and strategies page, would you?
Mm-hmm.
Will you do that? After we hang up, he'll share it to our Facebook group. Most of you are probably on there, so check it out there.
Oh, good idea. Good idea. I'll do that. And then number 7, reanalyze. Always ask yourself, what can I change? What can I do better? Is my farm size too small? Is it too big? That's how we were able to grow a little bigger. Branding. How's the branding? Is the branding that I'm creating, is it delivering to the people correctly? Like, am I targeting the right niche with the right branding? Like I was telling you earlier with the events, right? Who's my niche? Content. Is the content that I'm creating, is it getting me what I want? Is it connecting with the audience that I want? Or is it not connecting? What am I missing? Events. Am I having enough events? Am I having any events? What events do I want to have? How can I plan them? Right? Next, what can I automate? I'm always looking to see what I can automate, who I can get help from, like your company, Jeff, who is going to help us automate all of these mailers. That's a big help for me because I don't want to have to be doing this every freaking month, right? You guys have helped us with the whole process. So this, again, one of my favorite authors, favorite marketer for sure, Seth Godin. This says a lot. Average feels safe, but it's not. He should have put it's fucking invisible in the middle, but he didn't. He just put it's invisible. And if that doesn't get you, then I don't know what will. Do you want to remain freaking invisible for the rest of your freaking life? Because if you're not leveling up to have an actual presence and create a reputation for yourself online, then that's what you are. You're invisible.
Yep. So, get over what people are going to say about you. Don't worry about it. Just do it.
Yep. And that's a wrap, dude. Like right on time. Check that out.
Impressive. And everybody stuck through it. So we appreciate you guys for being on today. As usual, we will share. So we will share the recording. We'll share the slide deck. Tristan's going to share his live video into the Facebook group. And anybody has any questions, feel free to holler at us. We're here for you.
What's
Thanks,
next
brother.
week?
Oh, yeah. It is Past Client Explosion.
Ooh, I like it.
Yep. And then we'll go into video in November. So
Cool.
yeah, look forward to it. Make sure you register. And if you register, you will then automatically get this. So
Will I win a prize?
yes, you will win the opportunity to spend more time with us.
Okay, that's good enough.
All right, man.
See ya.
Bye, guys.